Maxwell and welcome to my stamp studio. Today we're going to continue with using the beautifully penned designer series paper from our Sale-a-bration catalog. This is found on page 7 of our catalog, and you can actually get this designer series paper for free when you purchase $50 in my online store. Stampin' Up is running their Sale-a-bration August 3rd through September 30th. And you can check out all the goodness in this little brochure. If you don't have a demonstrator and need a brochure, please go ahead and click on my link down below to subscribe to my email list, and also you can request a catalog to be sent to you. I'd love to earn your business. Okay, let's get started on our first cards. We are bringing back in not really an old stamp set, but one that's been around for just a little bit, and it is called the Sweetest Strawberry. And it does have a coordinating punch, and we will be using that. But the most important piece here is we're going to be featuring our designer series paper. And this is 12 sheets. It is 6 different designs, and you get 4 of each piece. Now this is cut down just because I've been working with the paper. So this is 3 of the sides, and then when you flip it over, these are the other sides. So today we're going to be working with this. I just thought it'd be really cute with the strawberries. And I do have a PDF with all the dimensions and everything else that you would need available on my website there. And you can click in the link in the description below to get to that PDF. You can download it, print it, do whatever you need to. All right, let's get started. So I'm going to bring in my little packet here with all the cardstock that I'll need. So I have a piece of, let me move this out of the way, designer series paper. This is measured at 5.5 by 4 inches. We have a piece of polished pink that is measured 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4. We're going to be trimming off part of this and using that for the rest of the card. I have a piece of Whisper or Basic White here, and this piece measures 5 1/4 by 4. This will be the inside of our card. We have another piece of Basic White, which is measured at 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. I have a scrap piece of Granny Apple Green, which we'll be using for the leaves. And then I also have the polished pink open weave ribbon. The other couple items that we'll need for today's project is the Memento Tuxedo Black stamp pad and our dark Granny Apple Green and dark Daffodil Delight stamping blends. So let's get started on making this card. The first step that we're going to want to do is trim off part of the front here. And we are going to trim off a 3-inch section. So just slide this into your trimmer. Right at 3 inches. Save this piece because we're going to be using this for this project. All right. And we want to cut this one to be 3 by 4 inches. So we already have it at 3 inches wide. Now we just need to cut it down to 4 inches. And that didn't go very straight. And keep this scrap because we'll need that as well. All right. So now we have our pieces again. So this Basic White will be layering right there. We'll put that off to the side for the moment because we're going to go ahead and create our card base. I'm just going to bring in my bone folder here and really kind of give that a good press so it sits flat. All right, the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my designer series paper and I want to put it on my card. So what I'm going to do is this is going to be your card front, and I'm going to attach it right to this strip. Now to attach it to this strip, I do need to use a strong adhesive, so I will be using our Stampin' Seal Plus. Oops, and I kind of went off the edge, so I'm just going to curl those right back on there. I do want to make sure that I have enough here because this card is going to be open and closed. I want to make sure that that is really attached. Now the easiest way to do this is to lift up your score line here and just slide this all the way in right up to that score line, and then fold this down and give it a good press I even like to come in with my bone folder again. And now we've got the front of the card made. Notice there's just a little bit of an edge just to give it some dimension. So when we put our inside in, we're also going to go right to the edge here. And this is just a bit smaller. So it actually is cut at, so this is actually cut at 3 3/4 by 5. So I originally said it wrong. So it's 3 3/4 by 5. This will all be in the PDF that is available in the description below that you can link to. So I'm going to put this piece aside for right now. We're going to do some stamping in there, but I want to get the other stamping done. So what we'll need to do is pull in our paper piercing mat and our piece of Whisper White here. I'm going to bring in the first thing that we need for our card. And I'm going to grab this flower and leaf cluster here. And let's get a block. So I've got my clear block here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my Memento. Ink that up. I'm using the Memento Tuxedo Black because I will be using those Stampin' Blends, and this will not smear when I'm coloring. So let's go ahead and stamp that on there. All right. Go ahead and clean that off to the side here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually stamp my sentiment. So I have a happy birthday, you sweet thing. So I'll ink that up in Tuxedo Black as well. And I'm going to stamp it towards the bottom here because I'm going to put 2 strawberries there. There we go. Clean that one off. And I'm going to cover this for now. And let's go ahead and bring in our Stampin' Blends. So I have the dark daffodil, and I'm just going to color in the center of these flowers. Now it looks really dark right now, but it's going to lighten up as it dries. And I'll take our dark Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to go ahead and color these leaves in. So I don't know if you've used the Stampin' Up! Blends before, but they're actually kind of relaxing to use. And the reason I say that is because it just all flows together really nicely. It blends together really nicely. And I don't have any streak marks, like when you go in one direction. You don't have to worry about that with this. So I'm just going ahead and coloring in these leaves, and it does color pretty quickly and evenly. So you can see how quick that was. It wasn't too bad. So if you don't like coloring, I would suggest giving the blends a try. It is a little easier to color with. And there are light and dark, so you can actually put some depth and dimension in by using the light and dark. For today's project, just using the one is just fine. But they come as a combo pack. All right, so there we go. And we'll move those off to the side because we're done with those. All right, so the next step we're going to do is we're going to bring in our strawberry here, and we're just using the detailed piece, and we'll grab that scrap piece of polished pink. We're going to take our polished pink stamp pad, and we'll go ahead and ink this up. And I'm going to just stamp on one side of my cardstock for the moment. I am going to come back in and stamp another one, but I want to stamp the first one because now I'm going to take it and put it in my punch, and I want to make sure that where I stamp the second one, I will not have punched out something. So see, this little piece is going to punch out right there. If I would have stamped too close, I would have that cut off my strawberry. But right here, this piece is just perfect enough to fit your second strawberry on. And this time we're going to slide it in from the other side. So I have this little scrap side to hang on to it. And we're just going to give that a punch. All right, so we can get rid of all these little extra pieces here. All right, so here are our 2 strawberries. Now we need just the leaves for the top. So I'm taking a piece of scrap of Granny Apple Green, and I'm just going to punch out 2 leaves. So there's 1, and there's 2. Okay. All the other little bits and pieces here you can get rid of. So now I have my 2 leaves, and I'm just going to take some liquid glue, I'm just going to put a dot of liquid glue right on the top of the strawberry here. And some right over here. I don't have to do too much because it'll stick and it's just a small area. So I'm going to lay these right on and give it a nice little press. Same with over here. All right, so my strawberries are set to go. Now, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to move these off to the side and let them dry for a moment. I'm going to take my basic white and adhere it to my polished pink. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab my Seal Plus since I have it right here. This is really very sticky and a strong adhesive, so you don't need a whole lot to do that with. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my polished pink ribbon here, and I'm just going to make a little knot. So I'm just going to tie it off to the side right now because I'm going to slide that little knot underneath the strawberries when I'm done. So I'll get this little knot made. Oh, sticky fingers from the glue. Okay, so there we go. Quick and easy. Let's get our snips here. I like to keep a pair of snips for ribbon and a pair of snips for paper cutting because paper will dull your snips. So it's nice to have a nice sharp one dedicated just for ribbon. Okay, so now our next part will be, we're going to be adhering this onto our card base, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take my dimensionals. Let's close this up because we won't need that anymore. I'm going to bring in some dimensionals and put them around the back here. Now I'm going to leave my ribbon free. I don't want that to be positioned right now. I don't want it permanently. And the reason I do is because if I need to move this, I'll be able to. All right. So before I actually adhere that on, I want to put my strawberries on. So one of the strawberries I'm going to glue flat and one I'm going to use up on a dimensional. So I'm going to tuck one strawberry in over here. Put a little bit of glue on there and just slide it right underneath that ribbon, just like that. And now I'm going to slide I think we'll slide it this way. And this is all dependent on where your strawberries are going to sit. So this one here, I'm going to have actually sit kind of over the top of my, let's slide this up because I don't want to cover my sentiment, right kind of on the top of my ribbon, just like that. Isn't that cute? Just a sweet little card and very fast to make. So now I'll peel off the backings of my dimensionals there and put this right on the front. It's looking cute. Now to add a little something, we're going to take our shaker shapes. And they're Granny Apple Green and Daffodil Delight and I don't know if they're Polished Pink or Flirty Flamingo, but it goes great with this card. So I'm going to bring back in my liquid glue and I'm going to randomly put some just small little dots of glue around the card where I'm going to be putting some of the embellishments there. So I think I'm going to do about 5. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to bring my Take a Pick tool in. I'm going to pull these guys back over here. Let's get this mat out of here. All right, and I'm going to pick a couple of these. So I'm going to pick I'll take this one right here. One right here. We'll do a little heart. Now, when you're doing your hearts, just make sure they're going in the direction that you want. And I'm not picking any particular item out to do this with. I am just randomly selecting one of these. I think because that's not going to show, I'm going to grab a Granny Apple Green dot here. There we go. So that is the front of our card, and let's get to stamping the inside and we'll be done with this card. So let's go ahead and slide this over. We'll bring this in. I am going to bring a small piece of scrap paper in because I want to stamp off the edge. So let me just grab a scrap paper here. You can see I've been using this already. So we'll just fold this one right in half. set it right underneath. And for the inside, I am just going to stamp a strawberry. So let's go ahead and take our solid strawberry image, which is this one. Let's get a block. And I'm going to stamp that in our polished pink. I am going to stamp this off once to make it just a really light strawberry. So here we go. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So here's that first generation. Let me re-ink that up. First generation, second generation. And actually, you know what? I think the first generation will be fine. My ink pad isn't too juicy. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp it just at an angle right here. And now I'm going to take my detailed strawberry, come back in with the polished pink, and I'm just going to layer this right over the top of my other image here, just like that, and it doesn't show too much. So let's try it again. All right, it just gives it a little bit of darkness, I think, with using a lighter strawberry. So if we were to do this a second time here, I stamped it off once, and we'll put this one right here to see how much lighter that is. And we can come in with this, and you can see through the stamp, so you kind of know where your solid shape is. See what a nice difference that is? I think we're going to do that. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to stamp off a strawberry here. And because I did stamp off the paper, I'm re-inking, stamping off, and going over here. Right, come back in with my detail, ink it, stamp it, ink it, stamp it. There we go. And now I will pull in our granny apple green, and we're going to stamp a couple little leaves on there. Actually, instead of that, we'll just go ahead and use our scrap. We're just going to pop 2 more leaves on there. So there's 1 leaf and 2 leaves. This way I'm only using 2 different color stamp pads. I've got the Memento and the polished pink. So let's go ahead. We're just going to add our liquid glue. This time I'm going to the back of my leaf image, or my leaf punch, and put one there. Give it a good press, and then I'll take my other one. And I don't want something too bulky on the inside of the card. That's why I'm not putting that up on dimensionals. And there we go. And we'll go ahead and put this on the inside of our card. Use our seal here. Again, you don't have to use a whole lot of the Seal Plus. And I'm just going to center that right on here because it is small enough that it's going to leave this layer right there. And there we go. There is our card. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, go ahead and please leave me a comment, like the video, share the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you know when I post other videos. And if you click that little notify bell, it will notify you when you're logged into YouTube that I've posted a new video. Thanks and have a great day.